Hello, 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 and welcome to this broadcast. I am absolutely on fire today. And one of the things I decided to do was to do a 5-day challenge. Now, don't ask me why. Well, actually, I do know why. For a couple of reasons. Firstly, I just started periscoping last week, and most of what I scope about is around mindset. And some of the people that were listening last week said that they liked what they heard and they kind of understood and were really keen while I was scoping and while they were on live or watching the replay, but that it was kind of difficult to put it into practice or to put it into practice consistently. So I was thinking, well, what can I do that will help that? And I thought, actually, if I can do this challenge, then that would be a way of supporting you to actually start to put some things into practice. So that's where this came from. And I recognise that because I did this very last minute and I was scoping at 12 noon UK time last week, that very few people actually know that I'm on live. So most of my viewers are going to come on the replay, which is fine, because you're going to get the value regardless of when you attend. So, my name, I guess I'll sort of tell you a little bit about the challenge and tell you a little bit about who I am. So first of all, let me just talk about the 5 days of the challenge, because it's about retraining your mind to think differently so that you create a mind that's primed for success. So day one, which is today, we're going to look at life is precious, enjoy it. The first few days, well, in fact, all of them are going to be exploring a different way to think about your life and your business or work, and then give you one action that you can do to actually make a difference, to actually make some changes. So today is life is precious, enjoy it. Tomorrow, which is Tuesday, is why you come first. Wednesday is your biggest fear and what to do about it. Thursday will be your thoughts create your experiences. And last but not least, Friday, holding on only harms you. So I'm going to be scoping at 6 o'clock on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday this week, and at 4 o'clock on Wednesday and Friday. And that's because I'm out early. Well, I'm out just about every night this week anyway, but I'm out early on Wednesday night, and Friday I just think most people aren't going to want to come to a scope. Now, I may be wrong, and I'll check the, I guess I can check the replay. So we did have some people come in on there, so welcome. And I'll get cracking with today's. So my name, first of all, is Julie Johnson, and I support predominantly women business owners, micro business owners, kind of got their own business, service professionals, people who sell their expertise, and I help them understand and know themselves better. So that's who they are, what they really want, and how their mind works, so that when I introduce the external strategies and tools for actually growing a business, they have a much better chance of success because they know how to get out of their own way. So that's me, and without further ado, I'm going to get on with today's session, which is Life is Precious. Now, actually, the title for today's session came about partly because I have a funeral to go to tomorrow. And that really does kind of focus the mind, if you like. And one of the things that is really interesting about funerals and celebrating people's life at the end of their life is that everything we tend to say about that person is what we value about the person, rather than the kind of work they do or what might be on their CV as skills and qualities. It's about, as I say, who they are as a person, the contribution they make. So if you think about the types of people who may speak at the end of your life, at a funeral or a celebration or a wake, I'm going to have a wake, I'm going to have a big party with everybody dancing. And yes, I would like some people to be speaking about me, But chances are those people are likely to be my partner or children or another family member or a close friend more than a work colleague. So when we're busy with day-to-day activities and day-to-day stuff, if you like, it can be really easy to forget that life is short. It's really precious and we need to enjoy it because as we know, we don't know how long we're going to be here. So what does that really mean? Well, it means considering your life as a whole. Putting your business in the context of you and your life and how you want that to be. After all, we hear these stories about people on their deathbed saying, I wish I'd spent more time with family, I wish I'd played more with my kids when they were younger, I wish I hadn't gone to work for as many hours. You know, you don't hear people saying, I wish I'd done more work, I wish I'd done, you know, more of that. It tends to be more of the personal relationships and personal achievements. What else does it mean by enjoying life and realising that it's short and very precious? Well, it means not always focusing on the end result. So a lot of us get really caught up with where we want to be. So this is what I want to achieve. Maybe that's how I'm going to get there, but that's kind of the end result. And that's what I'm constantly focused on. And we forget that life and business is a journey. And it's important to recognise that the journey needs to be as enjoyable as the end result. And very often what I see happen is that actually people who are just focused on the end result, when they get there, kind of go, is that it? That's not the thing that I thought was going to make me happy. So it means not focusing on the end result and enjoying the process. I mean, thinking about, you know, when your child or when a baby learns to walk or when your child is learning to read, the really enjoyable parts, the bits that you remember, are those first stages or the steps that they take on the way through, not necessarily when you've got their first pair of shoes or when they're reading their first book. It's that support and the stumbling and just the very challenge, I guess, of moving forward and of achieving things. But it's the process, not necessarily the end result, that's kind of most enjoyable. It also means not always moving on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Now, a lot of us, it's kind of, you know, people call it all kinds of different things like shiny object syndrome or whatever, but one of the things we forget is that particularly if we're really driven and really motivated to achieve things, then if we don't stop and celebrate our achievements, or at least kind of look at how far we've come, what the learning's been, what the enjoyment's been, and actually reward ourselves and celebrate that, then you can be constantly in a state of chasing and not really enjoying. And as I say, what's life about if not to enjoy? So if you recognise yourself here, so if you know that you're the type of person who is constantly thinking about work, planning work, imagining what you're going to do the next day, imagining or thinking about what you should have done the day before or how you could have approached something, then this is for you. If you recognise that you're the person who is always focused on the next thing, always like you get somewhere and it's like, okay, where next? You don't stop to smell the roses. You don't stop to look around at you and just to see where you are and where you've come from. And if you recognise that, what's the other one I said, that you're focusing constantly on the end result rather than the process, then I've got a little exercise for you to do with one specific action that I want you to take over the next week. So I'm saying that, but would you agree that it might be a good idea to actually consider this? Because it's kind of stuff you know, but how often do we stop even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes to watch something like this, and to kind of reconsider and just let that sort of sink in and hit home, if you like, rather than constantly being up here in your head, thinking and worrying and being anxious. Kind of just let that sit and settle. So my challenge for you for today, for day one, is to put your work in the context of your whole life. Now, probably the best way to do this is to draw a pie chart. So literally the circle, if you draw a circle on your pad, and just identify how much of that, what proportion of that whole does work consume. Not necessarily in terms of the time you spend at work, but in terms of the emotional energy, sometimes the physical energy, the mental energy of work, where you're thinking about it, thinking about what you have done, did do, didn't do, should have done, or thinking about what you've got next, as well as actually being in the doing mode. So you've got your pie chart, which is basically your circle. How much of that whole, of that 100%, does work energy take up? Is it 75%, 60%, 90%, more, less? What is it for you? And once you've got that, just think about what fits into the remainder. So if it's 75%, there is only 15% of your energy left for everything else in your life. So what is getting squeezed at the moment? What's getting squeezed out? And what's one thing that you can decide, or I guess that you could dedicate more energy to, in order to expand that section, even if it's just a little? Because again, we're not necessarily talking about time, although for some of you, we may very well be talking about the amount of time that you spend at work or working in and on your business. For others, it may be that actually you're not at work, but when you're at home with the children, or when you're cooking and doing things around the house, actually what consumes you is work, is your business, is clients, is what's happening and what needs to happen. So what's your percentage of the whole in terms of your work energy, the amount of energy it's taking up out of the 100%? What's being squeezed? What one thing would you like to dedicate more energy to in order to expand that mini section? It might be at a 1 or a 2% or a 10% at the moment, and you want to expand that. So what one thing can you do on a regular basis that will expand that? So think about that one thing. So you've got your pie chart, you've got your time frame. I'm almost finished there, the person who's just joined, but you can watch the replay and I'm happy for you to have joined. So you've got your pie chart, thank you. You've got your percentage of how much energy work is taking up for you, what's squeezed into that tiny little bit, whether it's just this much, however much it is. It's about how you feel about how work fits into the context of your whole life, and what can you do to expand that little section so that it becomes slightly bigger. And what I want you to do is to decide on one thing that you're going to do this week, preferably every single day. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but what it has to do is energize you, is make you feel good. Because if you can put things in your day that energize and make you feel good, then you're going to be enjoying yourself more. You're going to be enjoying life more and not focusing on things that cause you worry and anxiety. So that's my challenge to you today. what I'd like to do, if you're interested in getting a bit of support and getting some accountability, is I've literally just set up a Success Club Academy group, which is a closed group on Facebook. And there's very few people in there because, as I said right at the start, I've kind of just decided I was going to do this just today, and I haven't really sent out and told people about it, which is why there's there's few people on the scope live. But if you go onto Facebook, look for Success Club Academy group, request to join that, and I will give you support if you share what's your one thing that you're going to do. So share your learning from this session. Share your percentage maybe of what it is at the moment, and what one thing you're going to do to kind of shift that percentage. So that would be fabulous. My name's Julie Johnson. It's Success Club Academy. Thank you. And I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time at 6 o'clock, Wednesday 4 o'clock, Thursday 6, Friday 4. And we'll explore. Now let me just check. Tomorrow is why you come first. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now. Have a fab night. And I'm off to go dancing with my hubby, which is why I'm kind of going quickly now. Thank you. Have a fabulous evening. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.